Hey all, it's Jan of the Jan Files. How are you? I have been away for a few days because I took a short vacation, the only one I could afford, literally 2 days. And then I came home with a terrible cold, so that's what you're hearing. But I'm back and I'm pissed as usual. And, it's almost like sometimes you don't know where to begin, but I'm going to begin very specifically with Democrats. Do not fuck this up, Democrats. Do not let them pit us against one another. There is enough room in this, as we've always said, big Democratic tent for all kinds of Democrats. As long as they have a common interest, and that common interest has to be the middle and working class. Now, it's not always been that way. We know that. Democrats were at one point part of the NRA. They got money from the NRA. They still get money from AIPAC, clearly now. And so there are a lot of things that Democrats have done in the past and in the present that are problematic. But this is not new. And the fact that people are looking at the, quote, Democratic socialists and, oh, it's socialism. Nobody, you know what? One in probably 1 million people actually knows what socialism stands for. And the idea that anyone would object to the following things is absurd. One, what are we talking about when we're talking about these particular candidates? And they're not just ones that are named, quote, Democratic Socialists. These are also other candidates that are part of the so-called establishment. So let's start talking about that. Medicare for all. What the fuck is the problem with Medicare for all? We can afford it. We're pissing money away on healthcare now. And the only ones that are benefiting are the insurance companies and the CEOs that are making millions of dollars off people's health and death. Literally, because they constantly refuse people who need procedures and drugs and all kinds of other things to survive. So what they basically are saying, well, fuck you. The only way you can have this kind of treatment is if you're wealthy enough to afford it without us. So somebody really needs to tell me what the fucking problem would be with Medicare for all. So first of all, the Medicare system is actually pretty healthy. And I am of an age where I get Medicare. And I'm going to tell you, I don't have a problem with it. What do I have a problem with? My secondary insurance. So this idea that anyone would object to Medicare for all so that people, the playing field to survive in this nation is equal. You shouldn't have more of, a right to survive because you have more money. That's stupid. It's incredibly stupid. So that's one of the things. The other things is nobody wants open borders. And if there's one asshole out there, one socialist, somebody or whatever, saying we want to eliminate borders, no, but I have not seen one. Now, maybe there is a crazy nut out there who believes that. So be it. But that is not a position of Democrats to open borders. It never has been, it never was, and it was not open borders under Biden. That's just a lot of crap. Now, the other thing they want to talk about is that Democrats are supposedly for defunding the police. That's just bullshit. And if some people have said it in the past or whatever, I don't care. That is not the stance of either the, quote, Democratic Socialists or Democrats. That just doesn't work, folks. And nobody is trying to abolish the police. That is ridiculous. Or the presidency or the Senate. I've heard all of this crap spewed by the likes of Andrew Cuomo and others. Thank you, who are never helpful. And the idea that people listen to any of this, and there are people listening to this. I've seen, oh, I'm a centrist. I'm not sure I like all that. They don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. And when they talk about them, often what they're talking about is boosting community policing, which helps. It is documented, it helps. And you can transform, especially cities. Look at Baltimore, okay? Look at New York City. There are things that can be done to bring down the crime rate. And nobody in their right mind would say we don't need police. Of course we do. But we don't need militarized police, in my position, and that's what I think. We don't need people with all these big ass guns and everything else. That's not their job. So the all of these things that people are talking about socialism is stupid. Absolutely fucking stupid. And it's a scare tactic, and the only tactic, can't speak today, sorry, is um they're preying again on the uninformed. And I'm done. And so Democrats really have to stop, engaging in these topics on the mainstream media. And if they do, they should say, you know what? I will tell you what I stand for. I'd prefer not to have a label. I prefer to listen to my constituents and hear what they need and want and what's important to them. Affordable housing, good jobs, health care. That's what they care about. They also care about economic disparity. They care about the hate crimes that have gone up tremendously under Trump. They care about the racism that is everywhere now. And they care about women's right to their own bodies. And that's what the only thing we should be talking about is that. And not this idea of, and letting Israel lead the way in any kind of a conversation, because that's not, what is that? That's right there should tell everybody that we have a major fucking problem in the mainstream media when they talk about what's your position on Israel when you're running for Senate in Michigan. Why? Why is that what you lead off with? I think people are interested in knowing whether you support pouring more money into the Israeli government. That's a legitimate question. But leading with that says untold amount of what the mainstream media is about. And if we don't get this right, folks, it is only going to be our fault. And I'm tired of going on. I mean, I supported Abdul El Sayed, and now I'm on his page, and then I have people calling out Hillary Clinton, or calling out these quote establishment Dems, and I'm like, stop it, just stop that shit. It's not what this is about. Stop attacking them. I wouldn't go and attack Bernie Sanders, and I've had a lot to say about Bernie Sanders. But I'm not going to now take the time to relitigate 2016. If we can't get in front of ourselves, then I don't know what the fucking point is. And I'm done with this level of stupidity. And some of the young people need to really get their history in place. And some of the old people in my generation really need to start fucking listening back, because they're not getting it. They're objecting to socialism and they have no fucking idea what it means. Social Security, folks, as we all know, is socialist. Medicare, Medicaid is socialist. And if it's not that, then somebody needs to really explain to me what supposedly socialism is. So we got to get this right. We have to do it immediately. And we have to constantly have these conversations. As I always tell you, we need to have these kinds of conversations with the people in front of you, next to you, behind you, wherever they are in your life. You need to make sure they understand this shit. Because, as we all know, this is the most important election of our lifetimes. and we got to get it right. Take care.